are extremely talented gentlemen. I have the utmost respect for them. They have done a lot of cool things. I'm not sure all the specifics on their careers and stuff like that, just from when I met them, actually. They created their own school, which is just absolutely amazing. They are also publishers of Wow, or Edible Wow. They're very active in the ACF. They have a program, Soil to Service, which is also amazing. They do pop-up dinners, everything, which they're going to totally explore for you guys. And without further ado, here they are.
What I was saying is it's a pleasure to be here. We appreciate the opportunity to talk to you just a little bit about our career, what we're doing, where we've been, how we got where we are, and maybe it can lend to you an idea of maybe a path that you're going to be on in the future, and maybe some tips or some tricks or some ways to navigate the very many ways to become a chef and maintain a chef and be a chef and work in the hospitality industry. So I'm going to turn it over to Chef Abby. He'll probably start with the introduction, and then we'll kick it back to me.
How's everybody doing? The virtual world of Zoom presentations. I know you probably have Zoom fatigue, as many of us do. Anyway, thanks for taking some time today and inviting us in. Thank you, Chef Zampich, for having us, give an opportunity to talk a little bit about our careers, what we do, and then really kind of expose you to an opportunity for some advancing your culinary education in a post-secondary world through apprenticeship. And so my name is Jeremy Abbey. A bit about me: I've been cooking since I was about 5 years old, and nobody's going to get my age. So I started very, very young. I started cooking in middle school professionally. Well, professionally. I was a dishwasher in middle school, and then worked with a gentleman that continues to be a dear friend of mine, and he taught me how to hold a knife, and 25-ish years later, we are still extremely good friends, and he exploded in his career and took some awesome paths, and I like to think I've been somewhat successful. I love food. It's all I do. I went to a we called them vocational schools back then. I went to a culinary program when I was in high school as well. Really kind of kickstarted my love of learning about the culinary arts more than just doing it. And then through the years, worked at just about every single type of operation, from fine dining. I worked a lot of fine dining, worked at a casino, worked at a hospital, worked at retail, worked at hotels, and education. And really the past 10, 12 years of my career has been focused on education. And through that journey, really discovered that we need to do something about culinary education. And that's what led to the creation of our own nonprofit called Soil to Service. And then that led to the opening of the Detroit Institute of Gastronomy with my incredible partner, Chef John Piazzas.
Hey, I guess that was my handoff.
That was.
Excellent handoff. So for me, my career started, I wasn't really 5 when my parents sold me out to the restaurant, but I was 15 when I started, and it was a dishwasher job. Worst 2 weeks of my life. It was horrible, and then for some reason I said, you know what, I want to try this again at another restaurant. And I found a small place that it was an actual chef that was working there, not just a cook in charge, as that first job was. And that chef, as I started washing dishes, saw something in me because I showed up on time. I was diligent in my dishwashing duties. And of course, Sunday morning at breakfast, there were lots of egg plates, which are always hard to scrub, but I just worked through it. And so he said, hey, do you want an opportunity to come up on the line and learn how to cook? And that's where I started getting the idea of, wow, I could work with my hands. I could do something, and then I could watch the people out in the dining room get excited about the food that I was cooking. And that was pretty much all the way through high school. And so for me, that was the start of the love and the passion of preparing food. And it's just a huge world out there. For me, my path is just slightly different than Chef Abby's. I wanted to get out of the house. I didn't want to go to a local culinary school. And I said, you know what, I'm just going to go somewhere. So I thought I'd spend 1 year at Central Michigan University, where all my friends were going, and ended up staying there, liking it, and got involved with the culinary clubs there, and became president of a culinary club there called International Food Service Executive Association. And while I was learning hotel and restaurant management, I still cooked in kitchens, always having that love. But then after graduation, I'm like, I still need to cook. I want to learn how to do that. And that's when I went to a formal culinary school, and then got that education. Started taking it to restaurants, getting in the kitchen, climbing my way up the ladder to executive chef, to a variety of different restaurants. Then the opportunity came, because I had the additional background of front of the house and hospitality management. I was able to become a GM and start managing the entire operation. And so that's where my path started, veering where Jeremy was in the kitchen. I started taking upper management roles, and then got involved with figuring out I'm not having good employees. I don't have a good staff coming in. Interviewing is so hard. I have to do something about culinary education. So I started a culinary school, Dorsey Culinary Academy. I could say it because Chef Zampich, that's where we met. And for 12 years, I ran that culinary school, and realized even brick and mortar culinary schools are challenged in what they can do and what they can provide. And that's after long and many conversations with Chef Addy, we decided that we can craft an apprenticeship-based program that really hits the needs of not only the industry, who wants to bring on an apprentice, but also the apprentice, and how to rapidly get into the industry with the most knowledge that you possibly can, real hands-on experience with the theory behind it. And that's where we created Detroit Institute of Gastronomy.
And one of the things that's really kind of cool about our Chef Piazza and I's career is that we have been exposed to so many different avenues and facets of the industry. And the one thing that really just holds true and continues to kind of pulse through life is how the culinary arts has affected and impacted our lives outside of just the kitchen and just cooking. And it's really kind of one of those exciting things. I'm sure you've all been told mise en place 100 times. You know what that means, everything in its place, and you know, all that good stuff of getting a recipe and making sure all the ingredients are there. And really how that develops, if you let it and start practicing those kind of the mental mise en place that goes into cooking, and you take that and you put it in your life, then all of a sudden you can really start doing some amazing things in the world of culinary arts. Through that, my brother and I actually about 6 years ago started a underground dining club called the Detroit Underground Omakase Duo. And through Duo, we were able to really start something that was creative and unique that allowed us to shine. And it really started out of us on a couch one night saying, I really want to cook food. Let's make this happen, and getting out there and doing it. And through that, I was able to really take the concepts of mise en place and preparation. And anytime you get into a world of catering and you take up food operations and culinary arts and serving the public outside of a traditional restaurant model, you start having a whole lot more challenges and opportunities that you have to think through. And obviously, the first event, I asked Chef Piazza to bring his lovely wife to get some feedback on the food and the experience. And through that, you know, it's always nice to have a chef evaluate your food, because they called me out on my few missed knife cuts that weren't perfect. And, you know, that growth opportunity is what's great about the industry when you open yourself up to it. And the next event, he said, hey, can I help you? And I think that was the only event you didn't help us with, was that first one. And so through that development, we've been able to really kind of, that's where a lot of the talking happened of how we were going to form this nonprofit. What are we going to do with this school? What's lacking in culinary education that we can fill that void in the post-secondary model? What does the industry need that schools aren't providing? And we really, you know, just that connection of human to human through food is really just such an incredibly powerful thing that's the foundation and the formation of Soil to Service. And when you think about starting your own business, and that's what a nonprofit is, it's a business. We just don't have a board that splits the profits at the end of the year. Any profit we make goes right back into the business. And so with that, we set out to really launch a school that can graduate a student debt-free. And that really, we're not in it for the money. We don't have shareholders. We don't have, we're not publicly traded. We don't have an executive board that's all, money grabbing. We really are in it to better humans and better the student through education and getting them the skills necessary for a long career. And with Soil to Service, we do that, as much as we can. We really try to impact the community through consulting with other nonprofits to enhance their culinary businesses and really bring some better cooking techniques and some better food choices and financial choices as well, using our experience to help other nonprofits. And we really do try to just focus on the human and improving the human through food as much as we can. That sound about right?
That sounds right on. That's really good. Yeah. So you kind of led into a dig a little bit. You led into Soil to Service a little bit. I think that so the way the business structure works is we are a Soil to Service. You can see, whoops, that's this logo right here. So Soil to Service is the nonprofit we operate under. And as Chef Zampich talked to, here we come, gratuitous toaster. Dun, dun, dun. Soil to Service. And we are standing in our culinary lab, which is on 4th Street, right near the Ambassador Bridge. We are in a beautiful little space where we conduct pre-apprentice courses, but we can talk about that later. So Soil to Service is the nonprofit. We have initiatives under Soil to Service. Detroit Institute of Gastronomy, the 2-year sous chef apprentice training program, is one of those initiatives. Another initiative that Chef Zampich did mention was Edible Wow. I'm not sure if any of you have had a chance to pick up a copy of that. It's been in existence for 50 issues, and it runs quarterly. We took it over just at the start of the pandemic. Fantastic opportunity, a wonderful time to do that when everybody was starting to shut down. But we still were able to produce our issues. We started with an electronic one and able to push it out. The purpose of the magazine is to be able to, as we talked about Soil to Service, is to champion what happens in our local area. It is a Southeast Michigan magazine focused on taking people who are creating and growing our food to be able to watch the process go all the way until you get it in the dining room at a restaurant or outside on the table because we're eating outside. So we highlight small producers, farmers, chefs, in our local economy that are making a difference. And that's kind of Edible Wow. If you haven't had an opportunity to pick one up, I would say Chef Zampich. I know that there's 2 boxes at Dorsey Culinary Academy. So next time you go, grab a few for your students and pass them out because it's issue 51. We celebrate mushroom foraging and a few great articles. So please take a look at that. And if you can, pass them out. If you need some more Chef Zampich, I'd be happy to share that with you, get you some more. But so that's 3. And then the initiatives, well, Chef Abby will talk a little bit more about our Day 2 program, talk about a little bit about our pre-apprenticeship program and a few other things.
Yeah, we're going to get into all of it.
Let's do it.
All right.
They want to know.
So one of the really cool things that we're about to launch in with a whole bunch of partners in the city of Detroit is this project called Day 2. And Day 2 is where they're doing a study of glycemic indexes, which is, basically high blood pressure and cholesterol. And a group of this organization that's come together called Day 2 is really taking participants that are volunteering and taking blood samples to really study some indicators and some markers at the beginning of the program. And then for 9 months, we're going to be providing food and nutritional recipes to really see if what the impact of food on somebody's actual health can do. They did this out in Los Angeles, was their first pilot, and it was very successful. They got some good results. And then they know that there's a large amount of food insecurity and some health challenges in the Detroit city along the Flint and Saginaw. So they're launching in Michigan in those 3 pilot cities as well. We are the education and food provider of the Detroit market when we launch that program. So it's going to be very exciting to be at that almost that cutting edge of food and science and health finally coming together in a formalized study. It's really, really fascinating. Again, just another avenue of the impact of food that it can have on your life, and really the growth and development that you can take in this industry, where it's not necessarily, maybe you don't want to be a line cook. You know, maybe you really do want to get into health and fitness and well-being. And so now all of a sudden there's a whole world of really the medical opportunities of better food choices and better cooking techniques, and how that impacts people is really, really just an exciting opportunity for our organization to get into. One of the other things that so the service is up to is really we're starting to launch some public cooking classes now that there's areas of the pandemic that are, people are getting a little bit more comfortable in going out. In our culinary lab, we are hosting some public cooking classes where maybe you want to learn about better grocery shopping choices and some healthy cooking techniques. And maybe you want to learn how to cook allergen-free cuisine. So we're starting to launch some of those just to really help the community and help the surrounding area of Metro Detroit.
And so the interesting piece about what we're talking about, if you look at our structure, and we're talking apprenticeship, which we'll get more into, because we really want to share that with you. The Edible Wow magazine, these Day 2 and associated projects, because we're doing a few other things as well under the Soil to Service name. This is an illustration of what you can do in this industry when you have one common thing. And that one common thing is you know how to cook. So you want to be a writer, maybe you're really good at it, you want to write about food and be a contributor to a magazine, not just ours, but anyone. We have to know about food. You have to know how to write the questions, you have to know how to answer the questions, how to write a story, how to talk to a chef. So being able to be part of a Day 2 project, you have to understand food. To be able to be part of, be a chef, of course, as I'm sure Chef Zampich and Chef Olson continue to talk about, is you have to know how to cook. And that, hopefully you're getting the foundation right now in high school. And that is really the catapult to many different facets that you can go in all over and do things all over the world. I've always said to students that are in front of me that, you know what, if you know how to cook and you know the foundational skills, move anywhere in the world. Because while maybe some spices change, a few cooking vessels of how to apply heat might be different because of the vessel, but it's all the same. It's all the same science of what happens to that food to make it edible for us and make it taste great. So I think we are probably going to get into our PowerPoint. PowerPoint is focused on Detroit Institute of Gastronomy, the 2-year sous chef apprenticeship program that we operate. Let's see.
It should work.
Very good. So you should be seeing the screen right now. That's the first start of it.
Oh, we can blow through these.
Yeah, that's us. That's us. Wait, hold on for just a second. Just so you know, the initials that you can see are Certified Executive Chef, Certified Culinary Administrator, and then look at all those initials after Chef Abby's name. Go ahead.
It's a lot of initials.
It's more letters than in your name.
Yeah. So, certification is really important, and we talk a little bit about that in the future, but some of the initials that are after my name, I am a world certified master chef. I'm a certified executive chef, a certified executive pastry chef, a certified culinary educator, a certified culinary administrator, and in 2019, I was inducted into the American Academy of Chefs. So those are all the initials. And really, through the process of certification, I've been able to grow as a cook. And I say that as a cook, because when you start testing yourself and your own knowledge against some huge benchmarks, some national guidelines and standards, you start becoming a better cook. And then by becoming a better cook, you actually become a better chef. And so it really is, the certification journey for me has been pretty incredible. And I'm still on it, because someday I hope to get 3 initials opposed to all of these, so I can get rid of all of these.
What is that, chef?
So I am eventually planning to take the Certified Master Chef exam, where if you are not familiar with that, I highly recommend you type it in on YouTube and watch some of the incredible videos from the previous exams that have been held. There are currently 71 certified master chefs in America, and my goal is in about 5 years to actually earn that certification. So that's my continual journey of certification as I grow. So Detroit Institute of Gastronomy is really, it's a culinary education opportunity that we provide. We are an online school that offers career technical training in the culinary arts. And many people wonder, what is an apprenticeship?
Oh, I can take that. So let me just say, when in amongst chefs, when you get together, you would have a chance to joke with the chefs about, oh, I wonder where that chef got their culinary training, and you could make fun about it. And we always used to say, oh, he got his culinary education online, because there was that clear red flag, like, what is culinary education online anyways? You can't cook. You have to touch the food. You have to put it together. You have to taste it. Like, it is an in-person experience. How do you do it online? And that's where the way we've set up this program has been able to separate the 2 pieces of the puzzle, the academics, which absolutely can be delivered online, the theory of what's happening in the kitchen when you're working in the kitchen, to the hands-on, which is guided by a course, but also the mentor and the place of employment. And so that, if you look at the idea of what apprenticeship is, as it says on the screen, hands-on multisensory learning working environment guided by a working chef mentor. When you're out in the industry, we work with you to find a really good job with a mentor that cares about you and cares about your education. And there's a whole bunch of skill sets and knowledge that you have to learn while on the job. It's like a focused learning experience that happens 40 hours a week. And then behind the scenes, we provide the academics like sanitation and nutrition and supervisory management and menu planning and menu writing and practical exam preparation, purchasing and receiving, accounting, English. Our math is all related to what happens in the kitchen to be a chef. So it all gears you up in this combination of hands-on and online to be able to provide a very rich environment for learning.
So with any apprenticeship and any skilled trade, and many people forget that the culinary arts is a skilled trade, and most skilled trades have formalized apprenticeship programs. If you want to be a welder, you have to go through an apprenticeship program. If you want to be an electrician, you have to go through an apprenticeship program. If you want to be a chef, you have a whole lot of options. But one of the oldest and time-honored methods of becoming a chef in our skilled trade of culinary arts is through apprenticeship. And so any apprenticeship, no matter where you go, there are 4 elements to this apprenticeship process. And what are they? Well, they're the student. And so the student needs to seek out an apprenticeship program. And the apprenticeship program then works with the student and finds a place of employment. And what's unique about this is many programs then leave it on the student and the apprentice to go find that education in school. So, oh, I forgot all the arrows, sorry. So what we did when we launched Detroit Institute of Gastronomy, the first thing we did was become the school. So that's when we talk about our online culinary school, we're licensed in the state of Michigan as a post-secondary education provider. We are a school. And we launched that way back in 2019. We got our state license in 2018, and we launched our program in 19. So we are the school that provides all the related training and instruction like Chef was talking about. Well, we also are the apprenticeship program. So now working, when a student comes to us, we work with the student to find them a place of employment, and then they don't have to go anywhere to complete their apprenticeship program because we can provide that related training and instruction. Yeah, like I just talked about, we're accredited by the American Culinary Federation Education Foundation. So that means we use their guidelines to really drive our culinary education and skill development. We're registered with the United States Department of Labor. And it's one of those things that it's really hard to explain, but it took a lot of work. We just received our permanent status as a U.S. Department of Labor culinary apprenticeship program. So that really was a milestone benchmark for us. We had to go through a third-party audit from the Department of Labor that looked at everything to really kind of give us our rubber stamp of approval to make us not a temporary program, but a permanent program. We're licensed in the state of Michigan, like I said, and then we're registered as a nonprofit 501c3. So Chef had talked about really working in the industry, and that's the difference of apprenticeship. That's the thing that really makes it unique and probably what we like to think of as the preferred way of culinary education, because you are working in the industry under an approved mentor. And our places of employment that we register have to go through a rigorous process to become registered with us because of the United States Department of Labor. And then you want to talk about the mentor a bit?
Yeah, sure. So one of the things when I made a comment earlier about how when my parents dropped me off at the restaurant or gave me to the restaurant, that actually was how a lot of culinary apprenticeships started over in Europe, is where the parents would bring their child to a hotel, usually big and famous hotel, and the chef would say, sure, come on in, you can clean those pots every day for 10 hours. And then you can do this, you could cut this lettuce, or you could cut this chicken, and you do that. And that was really the start of the apprentice program, the hands-on foundational building. Of course, it was for years and years and years, but through that process, the hands-on piece, that student knew everything about what it was to be a chef as it relates to cooking. And when I went to culinary school, there was a butcher that was teaching the class, and I was amazed at his skill, because as he was butchering, whatever it was he had in front of him, as he's fabricating, he never looked at it. He always looked straight ahead. But he knew every nook and cranny of those bones. And so we asked him, what was going on? How do you know how to do that? But he was dropped off at a butcher shop by his parents, and he'd stay there Monday through Friday, come home on the weekends, and he would just clean bones. Wasn't even able to cut meat, just clean bones. And so he knew that skill inside and out. And repetition makes that happen. So the mentor and the place of employment go over skills, but because you're in a live working environment, that mentor helps you by training you on the right way to do things, but then also allows you to be able to do it again and again and again, to build that repetition, that muscle memory, so that these skills become second nature. Unlike when you learn it one or two times in a culinary school, you might, as a team, make a consommé, maybe make a different type of soup, or you watch a fabrication, and that's good. You got an idea of what it is, but being able to do it on a regular basis, because it's part of your job and you're getting paid for it, that's pretty cool. That's what the mentor does, guides that education in the live working experience while you're at your place of employment. Oh, yeah, qualified. I don't have to go back to it. They have to be qualified. All of our mentors have to meet the qualifications of not only the U.S. Department of Labor, not only the American Culinary Federation Educational Foundation, but they also have to meet our requirements, and that's pretty strict. Turn it back over.
All right. So we had talked about us being an online course deliverer, which is really kind of unique, because with our experience, I went to a local culinary school. Chef Piazza went to a larger school out of state. But we found that culinary education in the post-secondary world is really all the same. No matter what school you go to, they kind of deliver the education all the same way. And so from the beginning, when we set up our program, we decided that we wanted to kind of change the way that culinary arts was taught. And so we were able enough, and able to create some innovative culinary focused education. And we use our technology and our platforms that we have, where we have instructor-led classes. So it's not like, here's a YouTube video, go watch it and try to figure it out. There's, what do they call it? What's that buzzword? Asynchronous. Education, where it's actually, you're in the classroom. It just happens to be virtually. And you all are familiar with that now, thanks to our current state of affairs. And so when we built the program, it really, I'm really happy that we're getting feedback now from our students that are, what we're doing is working, because they're enjoying some of the classes. We take like a world civilization course, which is required by some of the agencies out there. And we focus it all on food. And we talk about the development of humanity and civilizations as it relates to food and the impact that food and technology has played in that development. And so it's really kind of a unique opportunity for us as educators, and then for the student apprentice as well, to really get a unique perspective towards food. All of the on-the-job learning that we do is done mobilely. So working with your mentor, you're able to actually track your hours, track your skill development, track how your progress of what that medium dice looks like for this banquet for 500 through this really cool program that we use from the American Culinary Federation.
So, no, I was going to say, as you can see, as a portion of it, the skill sets are divided into 10 different categories. And each category has a series of knowledge pages attached to it. In fact, in the system, there's over 502 pages of knowledge. And they're not just one single 8.5 by 11 PDFs. They could be 20 pages long. But it covers all of the things, and we talked about this program being a sous chef training program. And I'm sure the chefs have talked to you about sous chef. That's a person who's starting to manage people. That you're not only so confident in your station, but you're able to help guide others in the right way to do things. And so what we do is we track these. There's the knowledge pages that you read that focus on everything related to cooking, from here's how to hold a knife all the way up to advanced fabrication and complex soup and chowder making. Then it goes to tracking your hours. So everything that you're doing, all the hours that you're working, get uploaded into the system. Our program requires at least a minimum of 4,000 hours of working experience, which is basically a full-time job for 2 years. And that gets tracked in there. And then the skills gallery, which I think is the most important and exciting thing, is as you are moving through the foundational skill set, and Chef Abby talked about some knife skills, but everything that you do, maybe you're making a composed salad, maybe you're making a cream soup, you can take a picture of that perfect item that you made and you upload it into the platform. So the chef has said, your mentor, oh, that's awesome. You take a picture of it, it gets uploaded, and then the chef can see it again. You know what? It looks like that cream soup is starting to break. All right, reject, because it's not supposed to break. They kick it back to the student, and then you guys talk about it. Hey, wait a minute, what did I do wrong? And then you do it again, and now you've got a perfect cream soup, or for whatever skill. But this platform is a complete log of everything that you're doing on the job, approved by the mentor.
Just going to talk about that. We'll breeze through this one really quick. Just some more screenshots of what the portal looks like. And then one of the most exciting things that we have built into our program are stackable industry credentials. And through our program and through the work and development with the U.S. Department of Labor and the American Culinary Federation, our program entitles and includes the chance to earn 7 globally recognized certifications leading up to our exit exam of the American Culinary Federation's Certified Sous Chef. As Chef mentioned, it does require 4,000 hours of working on the job in the course of 2 years. And so we're based on a quarterly system, and then to graduate successfully, you need to earn and maintain a 2.0, just like many other post-secondary schools. But you'll also have 2 to 3 years of on-the-job learning. You want to say anything else? I can't remember.
No, that's pretty good. The only thing I would say there was not only do you have the education, you have the working experience, but you also have some money in your bank account, because there's no free hours in that system. The Department of Labor, as we are a registered program, says in order to be a true apprenticeship, you have to be paid as the apprentice. So that's just another added benefit.
Our enrollment process is progressive, where there's 3 steps to our enrollment process, and you can learn all about that online. We're not going to go over into that. One of the most exciting things that we offer is we also have the ability to transfer credits from your previous education. And guess what? Your culinary arts education right now is actually transferable. So if you successfully graduate from your culinary program in high school, we can take a look at that and review your transcript and your talk to your instructors and basically articulate some of the knowledge you've learned so you don't have to repeat it in our program. And so that, again, just reduces the cost of the overall program, but also reduces your time it takes in the program as well. We have tons of scholarships available. Like we mentioned, we're a nonprofit institution, so our goal is to graduate students that are debt-free. And we have scholarships available to really make our program affordable. And remember, apprentices learn while they earn. So just to echo that again, the U.S. Department of Labor requires an apprentice to get paid. So not only do you attend classes and learn the culinary arts, you'll also be making a paycheck. So if you do have any questions, check us out online, DetroitInstituteOfGastronomy.org. We're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram. We haven't figured out TikTok yet, so don't look for us there. But that's the end of our long kind of commercial about our apprenticeship program. And if you bear with us for a second and we can adjust some technology, then we'll love to show you a little bit of some cooking techniques today, just for fun. One of the exciting things that I've always loved to do is make pan sauces. And so today we are going to take some lovely chicken noisettes. Are you guys familiar with chicken noisettes? At this point, there would be a response, but since we're virtually and all of you are muted.
Yes, Chef.
A noisette is French for little nut. And so when we take a piece of lean protein like chicken or pork or veal, and we cut it into very thin, small little pieces, it's known as a noisette. Why do we use fancy French terms? Because we can make more money on a menu. If I called this a chicken piece, that's not very inviting. But if I call it a chicken noisette, then I can easily charge more money. So with our lovely boneless, skinless chicken noisettes, we're going to always, of course, season them with salt and pepper because it's all about flavor. I just have some restaurant ground table black pepper. We're going to season both sides of them and then dredge them in a little bit of flour. While my pan is heating up, I hope.
I see the flame, Chef.
Sweet, sweet. Wonderful, wonderful. So these guys go into a little all-purpose flour. Is this necessary? No, not really. But what it's going to do is add a little bit of caramelization to the outside of the chicken, which people tend to love caramelization in our society because we like that little crispiness. I have some vegetable oil that's going to go into a hot saute pan. And if you watch, anytime you see oil, if you want to know, I don't know if you can see it on the screen or not, but oil is hot when it starts loosening up and it doesn't hang around on the pan anymore. So you can actually see that the oil is flowing freely in that pan. And you can tell that it's actually hot enough to cook it. So we are doing a technique called saute. So saute means to jump. I keep turning it off, but I need to turn it on. So my pan is not hot enough. The chicken did not jump, right? So this is a classic example of, oh my God, chef, what do I do now? Because my pan's not hot enough. So what do? I wait. And we wait a little minute and we let that oil get hot again and we let that pan get hot again. So meanwhile, I do with this lovely technique called dredging, where I'm being sure to shake off the flour so we don't have excess flour in our pan.
We don't want clumps, do we?
We don't want clumps. So now I can hear the sizzle. You probably can't hear it because I don't want to burn it. Can you hear it?
Might be able to. I can hear it. I hope they can hear it.
So I'm not lying to you.
I'm going to come around the other side here. Well, this.
Oh, look at that. So many gratuitous plugs today.
I know.
So what are we going to do with these beautiful chicken noisettes that we are pan sauteing right now? What we're going to do with these is we're going to add a lovely cherry brandy pan sauce to it. Cherries are just that lovely Michigan flavor. So I have all of my mise en place set up to make this happen. So we have some lovely dried cherries, some canned cherries, salt and pepper, lemon juice for the acid, because acid is one of those flavor components that people tend to forget about. I have some delicious whole butter. I have some minced shallots, and I have some parsley. And then, of course, we have some brandy and some chicken stock. So the cool thing about chicken noisettes is they don't take very long to cook. So I didn't have a flippy burner. What we want to do is you can see that the sides of them are just starting to cook, right? So
How do we tell that, Chuck?
they change color. So we have the proteins that are changing their degradation. I don't know if you can see the caramelization on that chicken, but it's a little bit there.
It's starting.
It's starting to actually caramelize, and I'm going to lose gas. Can you believe that? Get a little bit more on this. We're going to flip these over. So hopefully now you can hear it, that searing happening, that beautiful caramelization. It's actually occurring now. We'll give that just a few more minutes because it is such a thin piece of chicken. And when we're done with that, we know that it's fully cooked. We take them off and put them right onto a plate. We only did a little bit of flour on the dredge. So again, it's not soaking in oil. We sauteed, we didn't pan fry. So we have some really nice chicken noisettes that are cooked up. I'm gonna dump the oil out of that pan.
165 degrees, Chef.
165 degrees for 1 second. Thank you, 2017 Food Code. So in the same pan, so I don't lose any of that flavor, we're gonna start with melting some butter. We're gonna add a few shallots. The shallots are delicious. They have that nice little sweetness to it, that wonderful French thing. Little dried cherries. We're gonna add some of these canned cherries, because fresh cherries are out of season, but we love cherries and we love the flavor. Grab a spoon, put that around for a minute, and then everybody wake up. Everybody pay attention to the Zoom. There we go. Flambe, fire is great. We love it. Yay. There's a little bit of brandy in there. And we let that flame out. We add a little bit of chicken stock to it that is fresh and beautiful. We shake that around just to deglaze the pan and get all the little bits of fond off the bottom of it. And we let that reduce to really build that flavor profile, develop that mouthfeel and that umami. And then what do? We hit it with more butter because butter is awesome. And what we do here is a French technique called mount au beurre, which means to mount with butter. And we just spin that around a bit.
You turn the heat off.
I turn the heat off because the carryover cooking from a quality saute pan will do enough to mount and reduce and melt this butter to get just a delicious, delicious looking sauce that gets nice and shiny. And here's a quiz for somebody. What have we forgotten? We forgot to season it. So we're going to add a little bit of salt in there. We're going to add a little bit of parsley. And we're going to mix that around a bit. And then we get to the sexy TV money shot. Here we go. And we take that sauce and we drizzle it right on our chicken noisettes. And we can see we now have sauteed chicken noisettes with a cherry brandy pan sauce. Yay!
$25 and a salad.
$25 with a side of vegetables, which is an extra $5. So that's a little bit of a culinary technique for you on this Friday afternoon, where we have a delicious, delicious chicken. Oh, that is a nice looking shot, Chef.
It is. It's very
Cameraman there, looking good. Does anyone have any questions?
What culinary schools did you go to?
I went to Schoolcraft Culinary back in the day.
And I went to the Culinary Institute of America in Hyde Park, New York. That was an easy question.
Yeah, that was easy.
Well, chefs, with all the things that you do, how do you manage your time?
Careful. You know, that really goes back to one of the first things we talked about in the beginning was that mise en place thing infiltrating our lives. Because it really is a matter of stepping back and understanding that this needs to get done, this needs to get done, and this needs to get done, and really staying focused and dedicating on what needs to get done that day and what I can do today to impact tomorrow's projects and so on and so forth. A lot of whiteboards, a lot of calendar planning, really just trying to make sure we achieve the deadlines that we set out there for ourselves and continue that forward momentum.
Yep, absolutely. Always being able to stay on top of what that next project is. It's a challenge. I mean, we have so many different things, and it's not just one thing. We're not just going to work every day to do the same job. That's what I find so exciting about what we're doing, is there's so many different avenues to look at. So I have to take, you know, the chef hat goes into a publisher hat, right? And then all of a sudden we're working on the magazine, and that comes off, and I have to go into a public class hat because we're developing programs, you know, and then I put it on as an instructor in Detroit Institute of Gastronomy as I work on a few classes with students, and then administrator, because now I'm running that portion of the school. So it's just very, to me, it's very dynamic. It's energizing, and it's never the same day twice. And that's one of the things I love about the food service business, is it really isn't the same day twice, even in a restaurant, even when you're cooking. It is unique and a great experience every day.
And one of the things about, I guess, managing time and scheduling and things like that is there is 1,000,001 different ways to do it. And you talk to any chef and they're going to probably tell you like their way of doing something, but it really is a matter of, like the culinary arts, you know, taking things like scheduling and time management. You'll find the way that works for you, like for a long time, and then don't be afraid to change it when things stop working. You know, if you feel like you're getting far behind, or maybe you're not keeping up in academics, or, you know, maybe family is getting neglected or anything else like that. When I went to school and got my bachelor's degree, when I went back to school as an adult, I let things slip and my family life disappeared almost because I lost that ability to balance time and schedule efficiently. And I had to relearn those skills. I had to find new techniques that made me able to go to school, keep my job, keep 2 jobs, and continue to enjoy life and keep that work-life balance. And so as you progress forward into adulthood and continue your education journey, you know, talk to people, what works for them, and then try to incorporate it. And if it doesn't work for you, try to incorporate something else. There's incredible technology out there nowadays that makes, you know, you can get 1,001 different apps on your phone, and you can schedule your day, you can schedule your week, and they'll send you little reminders. Maybe that works, maybe it doesn't. Maybe you use pen and paper, maybe you use Post-it notes. Whatever you use is going to determine on what works for you. Is there another question?
So you know how like breakfast is like the most important meal of the day. So like as a chef, how is breakfast like more important, like compared to compared to lunch or dinner?
Great, interesting question that I don't think I've ever heard.
Now, but what I think that the nutrition aspect, your body after sleeping is kind of shut down, and it goes into the process. Your mind resets. You're reorganizing yourself. Your body is in a really slow heart rate. Everything is just kind of slowed down when you sleep. And when you get up, you got to be able to jumpstart that body, and it needs a kick of energy. And that's why they say that breakfast, a well-rounded breakfast, nutritious, hitting all the food groups the best you can, is really a nice jump start for energy. It doesn't have to be, though, at least from all that I can see, is it doesn't have to be your biggest meal. It doesn't have to be the one that you're sitting down to a banquet because breakfast is the best. But you need something in your stomach to jumpstart. A little protein, a little carbohydrate. You can't just start out with that coffee in the morning and think you're going to last all day. The hydration is the other big, and to me, hydration is even more important than that bit of food. And I'll tell you just real bit, just a personal experience. I have a cousin that does the Ironman race, and he needed a partner to practice his swimming because he was hard to motivate himself when he was in the pool. So he invited me along. I'm a swimmer. I swam in high school. So I started training with him. And he gets up and has to do this before work. So I was getting to the gym and the pool at 5 in the morning. And I wouldn't eat. I just, big glass of water. And I was amazed at what my body would do. I would swim several miles at a fast pace and not, with no nutrition, just the water. So to me, hydration is number one. And then having your body just a little bit to get it started, get it going, is another key component to breakfast.
One extra thing to add on that is that every single human is different. And so when you start looking at breakfast being the most important meal of the day, that might be true for a certain lifestyle and a certain individual. For others, it might be lunch. You're starting to hear a lot of intermittent fasting, and you're hearing about some of the bad diets and trends that we see in the market and in the media. And the most important thing to remember as you grow and develop is listen to your body. If your body is telling you something, really start tuning in. And I know for me, I was feeling really run down, and I sat back and I looked at what have I eaten in the past 3 days, and I realized that I needed more protein. My essential amino acids were diminished, so I went out and bought a steak. I ate that steak and I immediately felt better. And so if you can start tuning in, for me, I eat a very light breakfast because it gets me going and I'm out and then out the door. But for someone else, it might need more protein. You might need more calories in the morning. So it really is depending on the human and depending on your lifestyle choices.
I have one too, chefs. How did you realize it was time to make a school, or if you guys decided to open up a business, when did you guys find out that it was the right time to do that?
So that's a great, I love that question. And I think that, there is no right time. As soon as you feel like you're ready, give it another 3 months and then make the choice and do it. And I say that there is no right time because we purchased a magazine publication company in the beginning of a pandemic, and we've made it work. And so it's really one of those things where I don't think there is a right time. You just know it. You kind of intrinsically know that you've lined yourself up for success. It really does take the support of others to, launch yourself into self-employment.
Yeah, and I think that Jeremy or Chef Abby just kind of went through that real quick, but lining yourself up for success, that's how you know when it's really time. The idea, I've always wanted, my nature is entrepreneurial. I've wanted to, when I was starting in that dishwasher job at that small restaurant that the chef said, here, why don't you come in to work on the line? I don't know, always in the back of my head, I was wondering how I could own that business. And I think that's why I ended up taking those business courses when I had the opportunity. It was just right for me at that time. But always, so in 1998, I opened a company called Adesso Inc., which, there's my logo right there, Adesso Inc. And it's a private chef company, in which I can do consulting out of it. So I've had that company, and it's been profitable just about every year that I've had it. Probably not this year or 2020 because of COVID-19 and no consulting work or anything like that. Everything was on hold. But you have to prepare yourself, and it's getting the idea. So let's say you have an idea, you want to open up a school. You start talking to people. What is required about opening up a school? Do I have the current knowledge to do this? Even though it's a great idea, can I? And then if you don't have you find out that there's a hole in your knowledge, then I'm going to go find out where I can fill that hole. Or you find a partner that has the skill set that you don't have. I think that's one of the reasons why Chef Abby and I work so well together, is we don't have identical skill sets. We don't have identical backgrounds. But when we come together, we make a complete package when it comes to knowledge and skills. And so working together, we just said, you know what? I think we've covered all the bases. We know the path. It is clear. Let's do it. And then we did it. Right? It's pretty simple to go and file the paperwork to get an LLC and put a name on it that you have. You want to start the ABC company. And what were you going to do in the ABC company? I'm going to eventually be a food truck, or I'm eventually going to do catering, or whatever your business is going to be. That's the easy part. How are you going to pay for your supplies? Are you going to have to rent a location, or are you going to you're going to work out of your basement? Can you work out of your basement if you wanted to, do some type of food truck production? What does it cost to get into a food truck? What does it cost to start a restaurant? Maybe, and all of these things take thought. So what I'd like to say to you is finish your education first. One of the things that I was amazed at when I started going to a bank to say, hey, this is my idea. I need to borrow some money because I want to do this. They said, okay, well, what's your financial status? The bank's going to want to know. And they looked at my resume and what does my resume even matter to the bank? Well, the bank is not interested in taking high risks. So what the bank did with my resume is look at all of my qualifications. What are my certifications? What's my education? And even the person who was signing off on the loan said, you're a very good risk because you've invested in yourself. You have the knowledge and skill to do what you set out to do. And that's really important. And that will help you with the jumping off time as have you prepared. And I don't want to just go back to dig and say education, but being able to earn certification is a really good way to prove to others that you have a skill set. Because what certification is, it's a third-party evaluation of your skill set. And so you walk around with a certified executive chef or certified sous chef or chef de cuisine or certified master chef soon. That says to the community, I have the skill set. And then people will want to help you because you're not risky. You're a good risk. So I think that's another piece to finding a good time to start your own business. Do you have the skill set to accomplish what that business will require to be successful?
Good questions. Anybody got anything else?
All right. Well, chefs, I definitely appreciate your time and stuff like that. I love the demo. I loved everything about your presentation. It was awesome. And again, as always, I respect you guys very much so. I mean, you guys are just amazing at what you do. And definitely thank you for your time to speak to my students. I really appreciate it. And best of luck to everything that you're doing. And thank you so much.
Thank you, Chef. It's been a pleasure to be able to talk to your students and to you. And I have to compliment you as well. I appreciate the work that you do in the high schools, because really starting the foundation there of good culinary training will set your students up successfully for the rest of their life. And I know you do. I've been to your campus as part of your advisory committee. I know the work that you do. So well done, Chef.
Thank you. I appreciate it. All right. Guys, you are all set to go, and I appreciate everything. Thank you.
Thank you. Talk to you later.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.